Well, there will be chants of London is blue ringing straight from North London back to West London. Shaka as Chelsea defeat Tottenham in another London derby. A very convincing performance from the Blues in the second half, though, because
Mhm.
truly after the first half, did you guess that this was coming? Because it really was a tale of two halves, wasn't it?
It really was. And Chelsea, as good as they have been this season, were decidedly poor in the first 45. And you just saw that the game was there for Spurs. At home, I thought they were by far the more energetic. They played at a higher pace. Um, though no real opportunities to speak of, I just thought Spurs were the better team. And then Tuchel makes a change, brings on N'Golo Kante, and the rest is history, so to speak, and as it always seems to be whenever N'Golo Kante is involved. Chelsea were just that much better in the second half. They got the first goal through the header from Thiago Silva, one of the most likable one of the most likable people in the game today. Question marks over Dele Alli defensively. I'll be honest, question marks over why Dele Alli is marking space that Thiago Silva has to run in. So while we can criticize the player, I'm also looking at the coaching staff as to who makes those decisions. And then from one of the most likable players in world football to, for me, easily the most likable player in N'Golo Kante, who, as I mentioned, simply outstanding, huge deflection. But
Yeah.
it was a second half that belonged to Chelsea. The icing on the cake coming deep into injury time.
Gotta love N'Golo Kante. He didn't even know how to
No.
celebrate after that one. He's just everywhere. Bless his heart. But let's continue on about Chelsea. You mentioned how Thomas Tuchel brought on N'Golo Kante, and I mean, the rest is history, as you said. And Thomas Tuchel, known for being a bit of a mad scientist with his tactics, and they seem to just be working time after time with Chelsea. What's impressed you the most about how he has gone about this Chelsea side, from the end of last season to now, and how much should the other side, the Cities, the Liverpools, even the Manchester Uniteds, be looking at this Chelsea as proper title contenders this year?
Without doubt. And to start the season, I had them as second favourites, and slowly they are becoming favourites for me. And the reason why is where you saw it today, and I think you've seen it over the course of this season. For me, where the margins are so thin between that top four, the top four being, I don't think anybody needs me to reel them out, but I will anyway, the two Manchester clubs, Liverpool and Chelsea. I just feel Chelsea are the club who have the most ways to beat you. When things aren't going well, they have so many different options that they can call on. Listen, we criticized Timo Werner for good reason, and it was evidence again today for his finishing. But one thing that Timo Werner brings is this unadulterated pace that when he's on the park, you have to play differently up against. So when things aren't going well, you have a Timo Werner who just changes at least the way the opponent has to approach you. And ultimately, over the course of a long season, I have a feeling that, say the history has proven that it's often the team that can beat you in the most ways is the team that somehow comes out on top. And as I look at the top four, now I'm not talking about just the starting 11 here. I'm talking about squad depth. I'm talking about the different looks that different teams can give you. I think Chelsea have the most. And that for me, by comparison, is where they get the better of Manchester City. For as deep as their squad is, they change things. And as much as they can bring in new players and new ideas, it kind of looks the same. And Chelsea gives you different looks, and which is why I say they are slowly eclipsing City as my favorites to go on and win this league.
So all good then for the blue side of London, but let's look at Spurs now, up in North London, because of course, yet again, plenty questions. We know that, of course, you need to give Nuno Espirito Santo some time to get this Spurs team together, but you're also, Spurs fans are probably wondering how long is it going to take, especially if they want to convince Harry Kane to stay at Spurs come end of next year. I mean, looking at some of the stats, I think this is the second 3-0 loss that they've suffered. They've only scored 1 goal from open play in their last 5 games. What's just not going right here at Spurs now?
Listen, yeah, it is early in the project for Nuno Espirito Santos, and finally Harry Kane is back, is starting in the league at least, and Heung-min Son, he started as well. So that partnership getting a full game together for I believe the first time this season, that is where Spurs will find their strengths. But to that point, what is the expectation for Spurs this season? I've already told you who my top 4 are. As we sit right now, and I know maybe this comes at a bad day after Leicester themselves lose to Brighton, but are Spurs a better club than Brighton? You saw West Ham finish up there and challenging again, despite the result today. So what's the expectation for Spurs here? I don't see them finishing top 4. New manager coming in, uncertain preseason because of the Harry Kane situation. I'm still just trying to figure out what I think of Spurs, or mostly point what I expect of Spurs, not what Spurs fans expect of their club, but what do I expect? And in all honesty, it's, well, we'll get there. We'll finish in the Europa League or Europa Conference League places, and I mean that it just feels a little bit kind of flat tired to me.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.